to see KwaZulu Natal. In this episode, we visit a unique city rooftop garden, explore a community game lodge inspired by Zulu tradition. First, an experience on South Africa's classic Umgeni steam railway.
Durban has a long and colourful historical heritage. The city centre itself has fine examples of Durban's original architecture, and the old courthouse, now a museum itself, provides a glimpse into these early days and shows how Durban developed as a major trade port. The importance of the city as a major port actually brought the Industrial Revolution to South Africa, as Durban was the first city to build a railway. Whilst our museum serves to remind and tell the many stories of our historical heritage, there's only one place where you can really experience this heritage, and that's aboard the Umgeni Steam Railway. Umgeni Steam Railway was established back in 1982 because the local heritage in terms of our railways was being lost. And so Umgeni Steam Railway was established to try and save some of that heritage. And we need to remember, we're preserving a line that's got tremendous historical background to it. This line that we operate this train on was built in stages between 1878 and 1880. And so as such, the line has lots and lots of very historical activities that took place. And all that history and heritage is encompassed on this line that Umgeni Steam Railway now currently operates trains on. Durban, as many people will know, was the origin of railways in sub-Saharan Africa. The very first wooden plateway was actually on the Bluff 1856, where they carried blocks of stone from a quarry to build the North Pier of the Durban harbour. And subsequent to that, in 1860, the very first steam-operated commercial railway took place between the Point and the Market Square in Durban. I think travelling on Umgeni Steam Railway is an unforgettable experience, and we've had folks from all over the world come and travel on our train and tell us they rate us amongst the top 5 or 10 operations they've ever visited. We operate between Kloof and Nchanga on what is largely the original old main line. We run through the Valley of 1,000 Hills. It's got spectacular scenery. There's plenty of hills and valleys, and you go through some residential area, and then you go through some unspoiled natural area. There's actually nature reserves along the way. It's a tremendous journey. It's basically unique. I mean, there's only a handful of such operations in South Africa at the moment. I mean, we're the oldest operating preservation group still active in the country. And yeah, look, people just love steam trains. And when you arrive at Nchanga, we have the local conservancy that operates their craft market at the station every time the train runs, where there's a large variety of stalls serving food and all sorts of arts and crafts to keep people occupied. And also our local modelers have a modelling shed that operates on the station platform as well. So there's a lot of things for people to do when they get to Nchanga. The museum is in the old station master's house, which dates back from 1895. We've tried to develop the museum into various facets of railway history, some covering the early Natal railways from 1860 to 1877, and then we have a third room which looks at the railway history from 1910 onwards, which is the South African railways and subsequent operations. Come and join us on Umgeni Steam Railway. We'd love to have you as our passengers. We'll do our best to look after you and make sure you have a great experience.
We came into this building in 2010. It was an empty free space, and as facilities management we decided to think about how we can best utilize the empty roof space. So my senior came up with this idea of bringing the farm into the city, but in this space using the rooftop garden. And we started it in 2011. Because when we first started, we had to bring in the engineers as well to come and verify if this can be done, the loading capacity. At the same time, the main thing, the building needs to be waterproof. So once all that is done, after that, then you can start setting up and then designing on how you want to have a rooftop garden. We've got the tunnels. So we've actually used the drums to show that it's using the recyclable stuff. We've got the tires, and we're using rainwater to water the garden. It actually teaches everybody to be sustainable, and at the same time, this building alone, it's a green building. So it's just to show that you can bring the farm to the city and have a green building and carry on as usual. We plant, we do the rotation. We're not using the same plant, the crop rotation every season. And then we plant, and then after that we normally donate the vegetables to the different charities within the CBDs. We rotate them, we don't give the same people all the time, but we just rotate them. We've actually had international visitors coming, and you'll find that there'll be a function happening at the ICC, and then we've got all these tourists that are coming up to come and see the rooftop garden as well. Definitely sustainable, and people can see that you can plant your own vegetable. You can start it from the back of your yard. Take your drum, use the tires, you can plant the vegetable yourself, and you can water it, and then it can bring food to your plate. It can bring food, and especially the schools. We've got schools coming from rural areas. They take the same ideas and they start doing the same thing as well. The best part of this project is just the space. Having to have this rooftop garden is something which is just different to anybody, because we've had even other big companies that have actually bought the same thing. So people just come in, they see it, and they come up with different ideas. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. I would really like everybody doing it. Especially with the architects when they design. I would really like one day for them to think, of having, each time when they design a space, have a rooftop garden. There's so many, even when I'm around, anywhere in the top where I see a flat roof, I just think of a rooftop garden. I wish that they can do the same thing as well. Even if it means one day make it compulsory, let's have a rooftop garden. Imagine.
The KwaZulu Museum in Durban, which is one of the very, very significant sites in the history of South Africa. When we talk about during the era of apartheid regime government, what happened during the apartheid laws, the system that governed our Durban or our country during that era. So when you come to our Muslim Museum, you will be able to understand and to feel where we are coming from. But you'll see where, during that era, how difficult it was for the majority of Durbanites here in South Africa. During that era of apartheid regime government, people were coming from rural areas, searching for work. The part of the apartheid laws, people, they were first go to courtyard in order for inspection and so that they can grant permission to be able to search for work. So that also, if you can go inside the courtyard in the Muslim Museum, you can also able to understand where we are coming from as a nation, because this is very, very important as a nation to understand where we are coming from. Also encourage the entire community, especially from Durbanite, people from South Africa, to come. When they come to Durban, it's a must visit destination, because KwaMuhle has a lot of history. And also it taught us that as a nation, it is very, very important to forgive. John Dube is one of co-founders of ANC and the first president of ANC, of which he founded this institution in 1900. So Reverend John Dube, because he was a visionary, he saw a great need to start this first African industrial school, because he saw that a progressive nation cannot live without education, of which this Ohlang Institute is the first African industrial school that was founded by Reverend John Dube, without the funding of apartheid regime government. This is John Dube's first house, of which Reverend John Dube built this house in 1895 with his own hand. This colonial structure, a mud brick structure plastered with cement. The reason why we are calling this house a revolutionary house, because this is where the idea to start the African National Congress, the ANC, the ruling party in government, the idea came out in this house. Then on the 8th of January 1912, at the Congress, which took place at Bloemfontein, Mangaung, Reverend John Dube was elected in his abstention. And also, before Nelson Mandela was arrested in 1962 at Pietermaritzburg, Howick, where it is declared as a capture site, a day before, he was also holding a meeting in this house with prominent leaders of ANC top officials here in KwaZulu Natal. So some very, very significant decisions about the future of this country were taken in this house. The reason why our international beloved icon, Utata, we called Nelson Mandela. The reason why he decided to come and cast his first democratic vote here in KwaZulu Natal at Durban and under Ohlang Institute, because he wanted to honor the life and time of Reverend John Dube. Yes, of which I was part of that history as well. And I was lucky to be assigned to work at the chapel hall of the school, of which it was declared as a voting station, and of which Nelson Mandela was coming to cast his first democratic vote in 1994, 27 April. This is a must-visit destination, because in terms of history, culture, religion, and core values of who we are, especially also we don't regard per se as museum. We do regard this as a learning center where people can able to learn and understand in terms about the philosophy of our great leaders who done extraordinary thing for all of us.
Africa, a tourism paradise with its endless beaches, abundant wildlife, vast landscapes and vibrant culture. Set on Africa's east coast, the city of Durban is where the world's tourism industry meets to be re-inspired at Africa's Travel Indaba. More than 6,000 delegates, exhibitors and buyers converge on Durban for the 3-day marketing event, aimed at showcasing the best experiences that Africa has to offer the international tourist. This year's event saw more than 1,700 product buyers jet into Durban. all seeking to seal deals with lodges and tour operators whilst keeping their eyes open for new offerings and experiences from across the continent. And over 1,000 exhibitors were kept busy at their stands, showcasing their products to their international guests. From the buzz of excitement through the exhibition halls, it's clear that Africa is still a must-visit destination for tourists hungry for adventure and unique experiences. South African domestic travel has far exceeded 2019 numbers, and international arrivals throughout Africa are showing a rapid recovery as the industry redefines the travel experience and pulls together to sustain and rebuild the African tourism market.
Umfolozi Wilderness is situated in the southern Umfolozi Park, and it's adjoining the untouched wilderness of Umfolozi Game Reserve. We've got 28 kilometers bounded onto the wilderness. Now the wilderness, there are no roads in that area. There's 35,000 hectares. It's important in the wilderness that you create buffer zones, and we basically have created another buffer zone around the 35,000 hectares of wilderness. In us partnering with the local chiefs, we encourage them in nature conservation. So it's a joint effort from them entrusting the land to us, and us being able to produce a model that there's job creation and we can uplift the community as well. As this project progresses, the area will expand and more lodges will be created. You know, it's economy of scale. 1 or 2 lodges is okay, but if you have eventually 5 or 6 or 7 lodges, the economy of scale will draw the tourism in, and then there's a spin-off on other things that happen. So it's important that this project grows to where it should grow to. In the Biela Lodge, the Biela community are employed. At the Mthembu Lodge, the Mthembu community are employed. And they've got different characters. And we encourage the locals to bring out their characters and to speak to the people, because they need to explain their history, where they came from, and that's important for these projects, is that it's expression of their upbringing and their history that they need to preserve. These 2 lodges that are open, Mthembu and Biela, are situated on the White Umfolozi, overlooking this beautiful wilderness section, and it's paradise. Biela, their symbol is elephant. There are 12 rooms, 10 rooms with their own private pools. They're all villas. There's lounge, dining room. We've got a spa. And there are beautiful views over the river. A lot of guests just stay here watching and just relaxing. Mthembu is a more of an active camp where we encourage people to get out more. Their tribal brand is the buffalo. So you'll see in our logo that there is a buffalo in that design. There's 2 family rooms and 7 villas. They got beautiful views. Designed was around the original huts that were there. That was Ian Player when he was patrolling these boundaries. In those days there were no fences, but they patrolled with horseback. We've got the stables there as well. The old stables are intact. So it's quite a lot of jobs that are created, and we at the moment are employing between 60 and 70 people from the community, and generally they are feeding at least 10 other people. Now these 2 lodges help sustaining a large community already. So as it grows and all the spin-offs happen, that just expands and expands.
When the doors were opened for the community to come here and work here, what happened was more people got to understand the importance of this place, the importance of protecting what we have here. Because we had this high number of poaching. So in a way, it's easier now because I can go out and tell people, my people in my community, that let's stop doing this because we are destroying what's more important to us. And then, because back then, before this was even on the ground, people didn't understand. So you can't protect something that you don't understand. So I think not opening doors to my community created a lot of problems for this place. So a project like this has somehow reduced that because now people understand the importance of this place.
We're back again with a full circle where we've partnered with the local communities and joining this land back into wilderness. So it's important with the old history that people can learn about it, and also the current chiefs that are involved in the project is to bring their history forward and preserve that history as well.
Next time on See KwaZulu Natal, we visit the African home of Mahatma Gandhi, now a museum. And we see how dehorning is helping to save the iconic rhino.